You know that feeling when you get up to pee in the middle of the night and you sprint down the hallway running from your demons? Is that just me? Am I the only one who's had an affair with the Hat Man? Anyways, imagine that, but in a world with an Akira-esque vaporwave aesthetic, and there you have it, folks. Mullet Madjack. In this world, billionaires have turned themselves into more machine than man. They exist purely to scrape profits from those who are stuck with their corporeal bodies. One billionaire, whose head is shaped like a big-ass bullet for some reason, has kidnapped a virgin to use her blood in a ritual to prove the afterlife. Like I said, this game is a fucking fever dream. Your job is to clear floors in sets of 10 all the way up to the top of the building. It has roguelite elements with incremental upgrades for each floor with a boss at the end of each 10. The game opens itself up to you quite slowly, with you only having two moves, a kick and a shoot. That's it. You can dash forward and not kick, but the game very rarely needs you to use that. This simplicity with hints of complexity is the game's greatest strength. The main mechanic this simple moveset hinges on is how it handles health. You do not have a health bar in this game, save for a couple of bosses. You have a timer. You got 10 seconds, and every kill you get adds a second to that timer. Once you start, you better not stop, because you're not going to make it very far. The guns have a very nice feel to them, or should I say gun. During my entire playthrough, I was never encouraged to swap off the starting pistol. Every time I did switch, I found myself regretting my decision and patiently waited until I was able to wind the pistol again. There are fire and ice swords, which both are much too slow for the game's speed, a railgun that similarly takes too long to reload and charge up, and a submachine gun that lacked range and accuracy. Admittedly, I did not see these weapons upgrade paths to their completion, so perhaps they get better as you go along, but I never really felt the need to use any of them because the pistol was just so damn strong. Side note, I did end up using the shotgun, as you will see in much of this B-roll, and Past Dag was very wrong. He was a wrong boy, and you know what? I didn't feel too bad about mainly just using that pistol. The pistol has a nice pop to it, and man is it fun watching robots spurt blood everywhere, even though that kind of makes no sense. They're made out of metal. Environmental kills were a neat addition as well, with electric grates, vats of acid, and my personal favorite, big ass fans. Your dash and kick are essentially the same move, so you fly around the map at breakneck speed. Maps in this game use similar tile sets randomized each time you die for variety's sake. An attempt was made to spice these narrow corridors up with wider spaces. The problem is that these spaces still feel very cramped, and quite early on I started to notice the same spaces being used over and over and over again. This is mitigated slightly by the environmental hazards and enemies being introduced as you climb this 80-story tower, yet it feels like something is missing. Oh, a lava level, except it's the same as the acid levels with a different skin. Wow. The cramped environments that were created are stunning. The 80s anime-inspired architecture looks great. I just wish there was some way to up that feeling of progress. I would reach a new chapter, and visually it feels the same as when I started. Don't get me wrong, the added lasers and drones do make these levels start to feel different. It feels like when you're at Monkey Joe's and they change out the obstacle course. I was hoping for something to make me feel this climb up a giant tower. Instead, it felt as if a guy came back into the free sample line with a mustache on. You're not fooling me, buddy. Go get yourself some free taquitos elsewhere. This game is a roguelike! Yay! Yay! Roguelike! Yay! Kind of. It has an endless mode, which likely does provide that more traditional run-like feel. For the main story, at least, each 10 flights grant you a checkpoint if you're able to defeat the bosses. The bosses range from a traditional shoot the guy and he shoots you, to more inventive encounters that I won't spoil here. Some feel like a bit of a letdown, others feel like a relief after a tough set of floors. Now, what upgrades are you receiving to push you forward? Some are quite useful, like shurikens that multiply when bouncing off walls. Sometimes you get an extra second on your timer. Sometimes you get a choice of weapon. Woo, yay, weapon. One is just getting rid of the dialogue, which feels really bad to get as it takes up a slot that might be used for, something actually useful. This aspect of the game feels pretty underbaked. Many of these upgrades would end up becoming useless if you upgraded your weapon. I'll give you a great example. The pistol's final form was an infinite magazine, so an upgrade letting you reload when you dash felt like a complete waste of an upgrade slot. And when, at least at the start of the game, you only get 3 choices of upgrade and no ability to switch, or swap, or skip, it feels really, really bad. It does not feel good. The best roguelikes set themselves apart by giving you meaningful upgrades that ideally start to synergize. There were no synergies in this game. For a game with such a novel push-forward combat system, I found these upgrades to feel pretty tacked on. They serve to provide some extra variety between runs, but they don't do enough to alter your playstyle in any meaningful way, which is the cornerstone of any good roguelite experience. These upgrades just didn't feel like a very necessary addition, and in many ways, it feels like it speaks to the insecurity these devs have about the variety in their game, which there is not that much of. Did that stop me from enjoying popping heads? Absolutely not. But it must be said, the story in this game is quite simple. Girl is in trouble. Save girl. Yet I found what this game had to say slightly more interesting than what the purposefully simple plot may indicate. This game is obviously criticizing capitalism. Your goal is killing every robo-billionaire that stands between you and the HUDs, with little quips along the way to hint at the writer's opinions on the state of the world. While I wasn't very interested in the plot, I was still impressed by the clever satire the game presented. Did I mention this game uses streaming as a framing device? They threw a lot of shit at the wall, and most of it stuck. This is a great game if you want to take your thinking cap off and shoot some guys. Every once in a while, you will be reminded that you have a brain, only to then be thrust back into the meat grinder. The force feedback you get, along with very snappy controls, made this a top-notch flow state experience. What it is missing is a greater amount of variety. There is no sense of scale here, no wonder, no peeling the curtain to see what's behind. It is what you get on the tin, with a couple of extra hints of greatness within it. I found this to be well worth my time, and possibly yours if you like this type of game, and certainly a game I will be returning to when I want to singe my dopamine receptors. Most importantly, I made it to the bathroom with an empty diaper. And isn't that what life's all about?